Welcome to A Year of War and Peace. I'm your host, Brian E. Denton. A Year of War and Peace is a daily, year-long, chapter-by-chapter reading of and meditation on Leo Tolstoy's epic novel, War and Peace. In these videos and podcasts, you'll be treated to a free reading of one chapter per day of the novel, plus a reflective essay I've written individually tailored to that day's chapter. These readings are offered for free, though if you'd like to support me, you can do so in one of three ways. First, you could purchase my ebook, A Year of War and Peace. It features the entire novel, plus all of my reflective essays, and it's only $2.99 on Amazon.com. You could also become a patron at patreon.com/Brian E. Denton. If you sign up there, you'll receive a sonnet once a month, plus a link to an ebook of my collected sonnets. Finally, if you like, you can make a one-time donation to my PayPal account. The email there is brianedenton@gmail.com. You can also use that email to contact me. I'd be happy to hear from you. Your support is greatly appreciated. Today's reading and reflection is on Chapter 130. Chapter 130. After reaching home, Nicholas was at first serious and even dull. He was worried by the impending necessity of interfering in the stupid business matters for which his mother had called him home. To throw off this burden as quickly as possible, on the third day after his arrival he went, angry and scowling, and without answering questions as to where he was going, to Matinka's lodge, and demanded an account of everything. But what an account of everything might be, Nicholas knew even less than the frightened and bewildered Matinka. The conversation and the examination of the accounts with Matinka did not last long. The village elder, a peasant delegate, and the village clerk, who were waiting in the passage, heard with fear and delight first the young count's voice roaring and snapping and rising louder and louder, and then words of abuse, dreadful words, ejaculated one after the other. "Robber! Ungrateful wretch! I'll hack the dog to pieces! I'm not my father! Robbing us!" And so on. Then, with no less fear and delight, they saw how the young count, red in the face and with bloodshot eyes, dragged Matinka out by the scruff of the neck and applied his foot and knee to his behind with great agility, at convenient moments between the words, shouting, "Be off! Never let me see your face here again, you villain!" Matinka flew headlong down the 6 steps and ran away into the shrubbery. This shrubbery was a well-known haven of refuge for culprits at Otradano. Matinka himself, returning tipsy from the town, used to hide there, and many of the residents at Otradano, hiding from Matinka, knew of its protective qualities. Matinka's wife and sisters-in-law thrust their heads and frightened faces out of the door of a room where a bright samovar was boiling, and where the steward's high bedstead stood with its patchwork quilt. The young count paid no heed to them, but, breathing hard, passed by with resolute strides and went into the house. The countess, who heard at once from the maids what had happened at the lodge, was calmed by the thought that now their affairs would certainly improve, but on the other hand felt anxious as to the effect this excitement might have on her son. She went several times to his door on tiptoe and listened as he lighted one pipe after another. Next day the old count called his son aside and, with an embarrassed smile, said to him, But you know, my dear boy, it's a pity you got excited. Matinka has told me all about it." "I knew," thought Nicholas, "that I should never understand anything in this crazy world." "You were angry that he had not entered those 700 rubles, but they were carried forward, and you did not look at the other page." "Papa, he is a blackguard and a thief. I know he is. And what I have done, I have done. But if you like, I won't speak to him again." "No, my dear boy." The count, too, felt embarrassed. He knew he had mismanaged his wife's property and was to blame toward his children, but he did not know how to remedy it. "No, I beg you to attend to the business. I am old. "No, Papa. Forgive me if I have caused you unpleasantness. I understand it all the less than you do." "Devil take all the peasants and money matters and carrying forward from page to page," he thought. "I used to understand what a corner and the stakes at cards meant, but carrying forward to another page I don't understand at all," said he to himself. And after that he did not meddle in business affairs. But once the countess called her son and informed him that she had a promissory note from Anna Mikhailovna for 2,000 rubles, and asked him what he thought of doing with it. "This," answered Nicholas. "You say it rests with me. Well, I don't like Anna Mikhailovna, and I don't like Boris, but they were our friends and poor. Well, then this. And he tore up the note, and by so doing caused the old countess to weep tears of joy. After that, young Rostov took no further part in any business affairs, but devoted himself with passionate enthusiasm to what was to him a new pursuit, the chase, for which his father kept a large establishment. All right, that concludes my reading of chapter 130. I hope you liked it. I will now proceed to my reflection on the same. A Year of War and Peace, Day 130. The Rage Returns. Nicholas is angry again. Rage has long been a problem for young Nicholas Rostov. We know that. Though he has made some progress towards attaining mental tranquility and balance in his life, today he loses it completely. His progress is viciously erased as he interviews Mitinka about the family's finances. We're not afforded any specifics about what the books look like, but we can tell from Nicholas's reaction that they're probably not too good. In fact, they're probably pretty bad. Nicholas explodes in anger. He screams with bloodshot eyes and a reddened face. He thrashes Mitinka, accusing him of theft, and then he throws the guy down the stairs. Later, as his father speaks to him about Mitinka, Nicholas says something to himself that, if anyone is listening, I would like engraved on my tombstone. Quote, I knew that I should never understand anything in this crazy world. End quote. In the end, after his anger has subsided, Nicholas decides that addressing the family finances is too difficult a task, and that he'll take up hunting instead. This chapter brings us another opportunity to meditate on how best to negotiate a world so full of Mitinkas. There is simply no escaping them. They're at work, they're at school, they're out on the street, they're all over the internet. Nicholas's reaction is unhelpful, even if it is understandable. Just look at how distraught and stressed he is. There must be another way. Daily meditation. It is not men's acts which disturb us, for those acts have their foundation in men's ruling principles. But it is our own opinions which disturb us. Take away these opinions, then, and resolve to dismiss thy judgment about an act as if it were something grievous, and thy anger is gone. How then shall I take away these opinions? By reflecting that no wrongful act of another brings shame on thee. For unless that which is shameful is alone bad, thou also must of necessity do many things wrong, and become a robber and everything else. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations. All right, so that concludes my reading of and reflection on chapter 130 of War and Peace. I hope you liked it. Thanks so much for joining me. Remember that if you'd like to support me, you can do so either by purchasing the ebook, A Year of War and Peace, becoming a patron at patreon.com, or making a one-time donation to PayPal. The links to all that are below. Your support is greatly appreciated. Tomorrow, we'll be reading and reflecting on chapter 131. I hope you'll join me. Until then, take care of yourselves and others.